Something that has been a huge topic here in the Utica area and really throughout, especially if you're a first responder in any way, you have a real opinion on this, and that is the way that this has gone down with Chief Russ Brooks in the city of Utica, who is still on official capacity right now. You're on a mandatory leave, is that what it is?
Yes, mandatory leave. Last week,
the governor signed a bill that would cover first responders that were, we never really think about it, but you go into a fire, you take your helmet off, you take your gear off, you're breathing God knows what, right? Imagine what was going on at 9/11. It was revealed here on the program that Chief Brooks did contract cancer. According to the World Trade Center Health Organization, they have certified that it came from 9/11. And on the line, we spoke with him for a brief period yesterday. John Feal is the founder of Feel Good Foundation. They're going to be in Utica today, and there's going to be a press conference at City Hall. And, John, you are going to be you're supporting Chief Brooks in this situation.
Sure. And, again, thank you for having me. I think what we spoke about yesterday, Chief Brooks, with the James Zadroga Health and Compensation Act, which he obviously was eligible for and is enrolled in the World Trade Center Health Program, and he will be compensated for his illnesses. We're talking about Bill 7901A, which the governor signed on September 11th, which we fought for and was passed in June. This bill will provide people like Chief Brooks that the state will reimburse the municipalities, so there's no cost to the city of Utica for Chief Brooks' heroic actions. I want to break this down and make it simple for people. The absorption through the nose, mouth, and skin of the toxins at Ground Zero led to Chief Brooks and thousands of others who were sick. We ate there, we slept there, we cried there, we went to the bathroom there, we worked there, and we were exposed to those toxins. Individually, if you took each toxin and put it in a bottle, you'd have a skull and a crossbone saying, consult a physician if swallowed.
Yeah.
Now take the thousands of toxins that were in the air. This was a toxic soup that nobody in the federal government wanted to accept that made these men and women deathly ill or have passed away. 433 out of 435 congressional districts were represented at Ground Zero during the 10 months cleanup. Over 80,000 people are in the World Trade Center Health Program now. Over 40,000 are being treated for more than one illness. Over 7,000 have a certified 9/11-related cancer. Like Chief Brooks, thousands of people suffer. And it's not just at the federal or local or state level. This is everywhere. And Chief Brooks is being met with denial and neglect and poor leadership and bad politics at the state level because an elected official cannot accept that Chief Brooks is a hero and is suffering because of his heroic actions. That is unacceptable.
I do have to say that this is a very tense issue here, and I can't imagine that that's going to go away, and certainly will be rekindled a bit. You're holding. Tell us about the press conference.
Well, again, I can easily come into Utica and call the mayor out and attack him personally, but I don't know him. But I can also invite him to Saturday's presentation where we'll be talking to firefighters and police officers from surrounding areas in Utica and getting them enrolled into the World Trade Center Health Program for their heroic actions. And then maybe the mayor can come there and see this firsthand, and he can appreciate the magnitude of devastation that still continues 16 years later. Or we could just make it simple and do what I do best and attack elected officials who don't do their job. I mean, I called a congressman an a-hole on national TV. I had Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell's phones blown up. I have the capability of being a pain in the ass.
When we say blowing up, by the way, we're talking about a lot of people calling him.
Ringing off the hook.
Yeah, ringing off the hook.
When I say blowing up phones, of course, people calling them where they won't get any work done. Let me tell you something. I could put a group of 9/11 responders in any area across the country. And, again, I don't want to go there. I think this is an easy fix where if we sat down with the mayor and explained to him what Chief Brooks went. I mean, we're talking about an icon. We're talking about I should be coming up to Utica where you guys are celebrating the chief in a parade for his heroic actions, not because this man's trying to fight to get the benefits he deserves. Chief Brooks is still working 16 years later with cancer. With cancer.
Yeah.
I know people that don't want to go to work because they broke their finger.
What baffles me about all of this is Chief Brooks will have termed out when? It'll be
mandatory retirement would I'd be out of there next August.
Next August. Although these term limits, does that change that, by the way? I kind of wonder. Wonder about that.
That's good.
Gotta wonder about that. Maybe you could stay. Either way, the mayor is not talking, and we've tried to speak with the mayor about this, and we're always told, if you only knew the truth, we can't talk about it because it's an employee issue. If you only knew the truth, you'd understand. Chief, how do you respond to that?
Well, basically what they're saying is they want me to reveal my medical records. And what the city did, what Palmieri did, he hired an out-of-town doctor that the state fire union has a class action lawsuit against for this type of stuff. And he did a bogus report, okay, saying that I had other issues.
Yeah.
He didn't say I didn't have leukemia. He just said I had other issues. Yeah. And since then, I've gotten letters right here that I can show you from 6 area doctors, plus the Cleveland Clinic, which is the #1 health care organization in the world, just rebutting what this doctor says. And the last doctor I went to, one of the things the city says is I'm blind, I can't see. This Dr. Novak, who's an local eye surgeon, goes, Russ, you're almost 70. And you wear reading glasses.
Right.
Because this is just, they just all laugh at this report.
So, by the way, that starts around 50 with a reading glasses thing, whether you like it or not.
I've had it, but but any complications that I have go back to 9/11, the condition I got there, and the chemotherapy, the sessions of chemotherapy I had because of it. And yesterday, I had an appointment. I met with a doctor from the World Trade Center. I was there 2 hours, and he gave me a complete analysis. And, and they just look at this doctor, the report the city has, and it's a joke.
Listen, John, comment on what you're listening to here.
It's comical in a sad way. It's, and I want to laugh, but I've seen it a million times, the mayor hires a doctor and pays a doctor to dispute the facts.
Yeah.
We're all entitled to our own truth, but not the facts. That's just not yours to keep.
Right.
The facts are that doctors who specialize in environmental disease, those at the World Trade Center program who now have 15, 16 years of expertise, have declared Chief Brooks' illnesses from 9/11. So the doctor who is saying that Chief Brooks has other issues, what other issues? What, Chief Brooks likes to dress up like Little Bo Peep at home? I don't care. He's sick from 9/11. I don't care what Chief Brooks' other issues are. Yeah. Chief Brooks is a hero, and he's not being treated accordingly. And for a doctor or a mayor who can justify their existence and come to work and then go home and say, oh, gee, honey, hey, kids, how are you? I screwed over a hero today. Let's have dinner. That's just not American, and I question their humanity.
Later today you have a press conference at City Hall. What time is that?
I believe it's at 4 p.m., Chief Brooks.
Is that 4 p.m.?
4 p.m.
And I imagine the mayor will be there. What do you want, John, the mayor, to hear later today from you?
I want to be able to talk to the mayor later today and sit down with him. Nobody has to be in the room if Chief Brooks is invited. And I want to tell the mayor, I want to explain to him the magnitude and the devastation that still continues 16 years later and the toll it's taken on yesterday's heroes. This is a generation-long illness that's not going away. And if it's not Chief Brooks in Utica, it's going to be Bob Smith in Texas or Ken Jones in Minnesota. And that these men and women, uniform and non-uniform, deserve the best of what any local, state, or federal government can offer. And Chief Brooks is just not getting that. And I don't know where the disconnect is, and I don't know if it's his humanity or his manhood or he got hit on the head as a young man, but he needs to understand that 9/11 continues to inflict people like Chief Brooks. And the reason why I'm so passionate about this is, I spent 11 weeks in the hospital with gangrene. I lost half of my left foot. I almost died. And before people got sick, I got hurt, and I got denied benefits. And I fought for myself before I could fight for others. But I didn't need 9/11 to know right from wrong. I needed 9/11 to show everybody how my mother raised me.
Right.
And what I see right now, visibly, what I see right now with my own 2 eyes and my 2 ears, what I hear is that there's a man in Utica who feels like he's alone, who's not being treated right. And my job is to make sure that he gets justice. And whatever it takes, we're going to make it happen.
Wow. And for what you have done, you went even further. You lost your foot, but you also, when you say you helped others, it wasn't just coming out to press conferences and standing up for people. Did you give a kidney?
I did. August 30th, 2007, I donated a kidney to a complete stranger in a 6-person swap.
Wow.
And again, you know, if I can give 4 kidneys, I would. That's just the way I tick.
Yep.
And you know, if we start listening to each other instead of yelling at each other, and we start understanding why, so many people are afraid of what to be afraid of.
Yeah.
You know, why be afraid to be afraid? And why not listen to why Chief Brooks is sick? You know, Chief Brooks, 16 years later, continues to serve the city of Utica like a champion, like a gladiator, like a warrior. And the fact that the mayor cannot accept that is just mind-boggling. You know, I got the IQ hovering around room temperature. And yet I'm smart enough to know that something doesn't smell right.
Yeah.
Something don't feel right, and something certainly is not right that Chief Brooks is being, let's call it like it is. This man's being kicked when he's down. I mean, let's just all line up and start kicking Chief Brooks because, my God, he's got cancer from being a hero. What don't they understand?
Yeah. Again, the press conference later today at 4 p.m. at City Hall. And, of course, tomorrow at the Radisson is when you'll be meeting with firefighters and police officers, and that's the conference.
Think Utica is going to give me a city to the key when I leave?
Well, I know there'll be some people trying to. I will probably tell you that. All right. Well, listen, John Feal, thanks for what you do. And
thank you.
In this case in particular, thanks for what you're doing. And Chief Brooks, I'll give you the final word here.
You know, words can't express how much I appreciate having this kind of support. And, and Jen and these other individuals, including New York City firefighters coming, the public will come out and support them, me and them. And it is just so bogus. And I was just reading the directive the mayor gave me. I applied for recognition that I had this disease from ground zero. And, my wife she was talking to other responders' wives, and they said, when the mayor gets this request, or when the mayor gets this, he'll get in his car and he'll come over here and he'll say, Marianne, is there anything we can do for you? And I ended up calling my wife and saying, come and pick me up, because he called me over and said, give me your car keys and your cell phone. And she,
not what anybody expected.
So it was a slap in the face to her too.
John,
let me just say, in 2005, Governor Pataki signed a presumption bill, and that should be honored. And that presumption bill states, if you were at Ground Zero, worked at Ground Zero, lived near Ground Zero, and you got sick, it is presumed that the toxins caused your illness. So, for a doctor in Utica who does not know about 9/11-related environmental diseases, to spew out of the hole under his nose that Chief Brooks has other illnesses, maybe he's got a third nipple that we don't know about, but he's got cancer from 9/11. Cancer from 9/11. And that's not fraternity that Chief Brooks wants to be in. So, again, the disconnect and the poor leadership and bad politics from the mayor needs to be addressed.
All right, John Feal, founder of Feel Good Foundation, press conference later today at 4 p.m. at City Hall, and then, of course, the conference that is going to be going on, which is for firefighters and police officers. Again, spending some time here and trying to educate people and help people. For that, John, we really appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you later, Chief Brooks. God bless you.
God bless you, Jan. Thank you.
All right, Chief, 4 p.m. today should be a fiery press conference, I would anticipate.
Jan is, he's a responder. He's a survivor, and he's passionate. He's on a crusade for firefighters and all other 9/11 responders.
Well, let's hope that something gets accomplished
today.
today.
And I'll say this too.
Yeah.
This is something I've had when I was at the Irish Festival. Obviously, I'm like a patron saint there.
Yeah, yeah.
But I had a Florida firefighter come up to me, tall guy, a couple inches taller than me, and he goes, "Are you Chief Brooks?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "We follow you in Florida, support you.
Wow.
You know what they're doing to you."
Yeah.
So this is all over. And
well, if it could happen to you, it could happen to anybody. And fire, police, any.
I read this directive when he called me over. Said I went there. You know what he said? It didn't say you cannot respond to fires. You cannot respond to hate. It says you cannot go to council meetings. I mean, it's just so obvious, the political, personal. Yeah. I mean, but I think everyone knows that. I'm not.
Well, I'm not sure how anybody could prevent you as a citizen from going to a council meeting.
And I go to every council meeting. And
all right, Chief. Well, later today,
painful.
And you'd like people to come out at 4 o'clock today.
Yeah, these guys are coming up from New York, especially, and I'd like to give them support.
Nice representation.
And I thank you for the support and raising this level of awareness.
All right. Well, we're baffled at this whole thing. Chief Brooks, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Got a break. Coming back at WIBX.